This is an ADD case. So this is the hyperactive type. This is a hyperactive child. All right? So he is 2006, he's 12 years old, right? So again, see anything familiar there? Anything catches your attention? Anything gets your attention? I'm going to keep moving. Tell me when you see something that gets your attention. That's muscle. See that there? What's that? There it is again. There it is again. What do you think that is? Any ideas? Right here, right here. Any ideas about what that is? Could be. Here it is again, here it is again, here it is again. What do you think it is? I know it's you go, I know. Got the neurologist going, I know what it is. So, what do you think it is, people? And there it is again. Any ideas? No clue? So, what is it, dog?
The same.
Another epileptic discharge. That's right. It's not as pronounced, but it is there nonetheless. See it right there, spike and wave. So yeah. And you probably missed it because you were expecting to see the same thing. But no two brains are alike. And this one is, that's I think that's T5, T6. So this is an ADD case with epileptiform discharges. Now, it's not the only presenting feature, but I just want you to see that, okay? So again, it takes time to train the eye to identify, all right? If I were sitting there with you and the dog was presenting and he was asking, I would go, I don't know, this looks pointing, but I don't know. I know now because I've seen it. I've trained my eye to see it, and I confirm with a professional who's qualified and licensed to do that, right? So we have that, but we also have something else. For instance, look at that right there. What's that? Slow, fast. This right here. That's slow, right? What's that right there? Slow or fast? That's slow. Very good. So let's see where it is and what range it is. I want you to tell me what type of activity that is. So this is PZ. So what rhythm is that? How do we know? How do we know if it is theta, delta, alpha? How many cycles is it? Let's count here. 1. You count it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
What's that?
Theta.
Slow theta, right? Again.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7. So we got slow theta PC. So we got the epileptic discharge, but we have slow theta, which is probably related to that. So what? That's the slow theta at PC mean for this little guy, for this young fellow. So what is PC again? What are the functions of PC again? Self-regulation, attention, maturational lag. Okay? So, when we see slow theta, it's also common to see slow alpha, which will bring cognitive processing compromising. Alright? Now, we have that. There it is again. So you see the rhythmicity, right? Look at that. Look at the slowing. It's quite significant, isn't it? So what's causing the hyperactivity? Is it this? Is it the epileptic discharge? Is it the food that they're giving him? What's causing it? What do you think is causing the hyperactivity? Is it one thing? Is it everything? Is it a combination of things? Here's the discharge again. Okay, see that right there? Field and phase, yes or no?
Yes.
Field and phase, yes or no? Field and phase, yes or no? Yes. So, what is that called again? It's phase what? Phase. The phase stability. And it increases what? So we got hypercoherence again. We had a hypercoherent brain too, with a lot of slowing. So we have some theta, some slow theta, 7 hertz. We got the epileptiform discharges, and we had hypercoherence. So what are the clinical implications for this young man? First of all, what is that? What is the hypercoherence? What does it represent? The brain going what? Brain's going offline. So he's getting distracted. His brain is shutting down periodically, and he's just being absent, right? We have the epileptic discharge, and we need to see where it is the highest. So if you look at this segment right here, where do you see the amplitude is the highest? Oh, wait, you can see the channels. I'll tell you what channels they are. This is P4, T5, C4. So which one is the highest? Is it P4? Is it T5? Is it C4? Which one? Again, this is P4, this is T5, this is C4. Which one is the highest? Which one? P4, don't be afraid, say it. Yeah, there you go, that's the highest, yes. So that's probably your source right there. So look at that, we had the slowing with the epileptiform activity, epileptiform discharge. So let's look at the raw the spectral analysis. We're gonna see some high beta, but it's the EEG. So there's your discharge right there. And look at that. So we got PZ and P4. So see the peak alpha frequency? When I told you that when you see really slow theta, it starts dragging the alpha on the dark side of the force. Takes it the wrong way. Look at the peak alpha frequency, 7.32. He is 12 years old. Is that problematic? Yes. Should we pay attention to it? Why should we pay attention to it? Well, because it's slow, yes, but why else? I mean, why do we need to pay close attention to it? So it's supposed to be where? Yeah, 10 or above. And it's at 7.32. So what's the clinical implication for this 12-year-old male? So what's the first thing we need to recommend? An IQ test. Yes, we need to check with do an IQ test. So we refer for neuropsychological testing, IQ test, and maybe executive function, but the IQ test is going to be key, right? What's the other intervention that we need to implement? So we need to do pharmacological intervention, right? We need to do, and I think, an anticonvulsant because we want to help. So we could, what, valproic acid or something like that?
Depends the clinical.
Right, depends on
Which kind of seizure she.
Well, he's not having seizures either. So.
Could be Tegretol or valproic.
Valproic acid,
Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
So we do the pharmacological route as well because we want to stop the discharges, and we do neurofeedback. So the neurologist and I, well, it's mostly the neurologist, will decide when to start reducing the dosage and taking the medication completely. I don't decide that. The prescribing professional does, based on what the EEG is saying, right? So we have that, and let's look at the spectral analysis. And you're going to tell me, please, what you would train and where you would train it. So there it is. This right here is this is EMG, this is EMG, this is EMG, because I did not edit it out, so don't worry about that. That's EMG. So again, the question is, where would you train? What would you suppress? Where would you reward, and why? So what do we look at to decide the protocol? What things do you need to look at? What do you think? So first of all, on this EEG we have a particular feature, which is what? The epileptic discharge. So we cannot ignore that. All right. So where is the epileptic discharge? What's the source? PZ to P4. Right. So as you're generating right there. So we need to put a sensor there and train that. Okay. And we're going to suppress. What are you going to suppress? You don't have to tell me the range. Just tell me the name of the brain waves. So which one is?
Theta.
So this one is delta. This one is.
Theta.
This one is. So we're going to suppress whatever it is in that range, and we're going to reward. Are you going to reward something? Yes. What is it? 12 to 15. There you go. So is that clear? Are you sure you're understanding it? Okay. If you don't understand it, please ask. This is the time to ask. We have time, okay? Because once I'm in Colombia, I'm going to be very far away. You're going to have a chance to ask me. So ask me now when I'm here, okay? Good. So 12 to 15. Good. Now, we could do CZ to P4 or PC to P4. That's a good one. Would you choose anything else? I know the priority is this, but would you train somewhere else? Where? F4. Okay, and why is that? Too much what? No, that's EMG. So yeah, that's EMG, don't worry about that, because I didn't filter it out. So this is EMG, this is EMG, this is EMG, this is EMG. But we have some slowing here, in the frontal cortex too. And that's executive functions, right? Now, if we do PZ, we need to take care of that of what? What was the thing that's lower than we want it to be? The peak alpha frequency. Okay? It was at 7.32. So that has serious academic consequences. Okay? So, aside from the epileptic discharge, aside from the slowing here, we need to take care of that brainwave activity. Okay? And what's the protocol you use for peak alpha frequency? Where do you put the sensors? C4 and PC. So you could also do some C4 to PC. Suppressing the slowing, and doing 12 to 15 reward. And so you're targeting the discharge and you're targeting IQ as well. Because the discharge could be causing the slowing, and therefore is causing the IQ to get lower. But it could be a developmental lag, maturational lag. And sometimes epileptic discharges are normal in brains that are underdeveloped, right?
Sure.
So an underdeveloped brain could be generating those things. Now, when you see a pattern of epileptic discharges such as this one, I would think it would be safe to recommend an MRI, right? Just to rule out any kind of lesion or tumor or something like that, because this could be being caused by a tumor. But since there's maturational lag, there's a maturational and developmental delay, we need to look at the structure side of the brain too. So integrating the work makes more sense. Is it making more sense now that you look at it? Are you feeling less afraid, less threatened by this, or no? Or is it still overwhelming? So that's a good one. So we could do F3 to F4, we could do FZ, but I would choose C4 PC. Or you could even do 4-channel training. You could do C4, CC, P3, P4, for instance. You can do up to 19 channels of neurofeedback if you want to. I normally don't go over 2, so I do Z4 PC, and we suppress and we reward. And this little guy needs to get an MRI, because we need to rule out anything structural. And if there's a developmental delay, we need to address it as well. So, good nutrition. So anything that's sugary needs to go out of the diet, because otherwise the sugar is going to maintain this problem. It could even make it worse. So no sugars, more protein, vegetables, and good fats like avocado and I don't know, coconut oil maybe would be a good choice. I don't know. You would agree with me? Yes, no? So, things like that would be of great benefit for this guy. All right? So, makes more sense? All right. We're going to look at another one, and then we're going to go to the practice side of things. I want to show you a very interesting one, too. So, this is a client that my parents met at a wedding, and this gentleman is from Spain. And he came to me. Where's he? Spain. Here we go. So he's 66 years of age. Male. From Spain. And he came because he is in bereavement. He's mourning the death of his wife. His wife of 50 years just died from cancer. And I have a cousin who's a doctor, and he lives in Spain. His wife is from the Ukraine, but they got married in Colombia. And I couldn't go to the wedding because I was traveling, but my parents met this gentleman. And his wife was my cousin's patient during the last days. And so he became good friends with my cousin, and they were sitting at the same table at the wedding with my parents. And he told them the story about how losing the wife and how he's depressed. And so my parents said, well, Santiago, our son, does neurofeedback and brain spotting, and you could go see him. So he went to Bogota for a brain map. So we're going to look at it, but it's going to be you guys who are going to tell me what you see. All right? So we already have some basic information. I want you to look at the EEG, and I want you to tell me if you see anything that's interesting to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right here, okay? So, the first thing that we look at is what? The amplitude of the brainwaves. So what do you see there? What kind of amplitude do you see? Is it slow? I'm sorry, is it, slow or fast brainwaves? So we have some slow brainwaves. Good. Anything else that grabs your attention? So when you look at this, don't look at a specific channel. Look at everything, okay? I want you to train your brain and train your eyes to look at the bigger picture. It's very important. I know you're learning. I know it seems like it is too much, but I want you to practice, okay? You will have time. You have all your lives to get this. So, anything else in this segment that would get your attention? Other than the slow brainwave activity? Sorry, did somebody say something? The front? This one? Oh, you mean the amplitude is greater at the front?
The waves are faster.
The waves are faster at the front? Oh, okay. Yeah, that for the most part, they seem to be a little faster. There seems to be more slowing in the back. That's a good catch. Anything else? Now you're not gonna probably see it, but I'll show it to you. So let's keep moving forward. I'm gonna keep clicking, and when you see something that interests you, tell me stop. Okay? And it could be individually. Don't say it as a group. If you want to stop me at any moment, please stop me. Stop. Okay, go back. Yeah, because you said.
Yeah.
So what are you noticing?
Spike.
This. And some slowing. Okay. I'm gonna keep going and stop me whenever you feel like it.
Yeah.
See?
Yes.
Stop. Yeah. Good. So see the slowing? So you get an idea. So do we have face stability? So we have what? Hypercoherence. Very good. Very good. This is sensor pop. That's an artifact. So keep moving.
Yeah.
Another one. So you're seeing the picture. That's good. You're starting to get the idea. And there is again.
Yeah.
And that's a sensor pop. Again, that's our artifact. It's movement. But you get the idea.
Yeah.
So we got, that's, what's that?
Movement.
Yeah, that's EMG. He probably was getting tired. He was tensing up his face. So you'll see that. Good. So you're identifying artifacts from non-artifacts. All right, anything else there? Same the slowing, right? Now, stop me whenever you want to. Okay, that's a sensor pop, So you see the slowing, right? So we're starting suspecting something. Now I'm gonna go back to the beginning for a second, and I want you to focus on what was it? On this channel right here.
Yeah.
Okay? And then let me show you which ones. I want you to focus on this one, which is T3, this one, which is F3, and this one, which is F7. So F7, make a mental note, F3, and T3. Do you see anything there? Yes? No? We have no idea? I want to go home and cry all day because this is too difficult. So notice that, and notice that. See that little activity right there? Okay, that's significant. I know it's blending it, but it's significant. So I'm gonna fast forward. I'm gonna move forward. Let me know if you see it again. Okay, so that's field and phase. F7, F3, F7, T3. Okay. So I'm gonna move slowly, and if you see something that resembles it, let me know.
Here.
Again here, very nice. Good.
Yeah.
And again right there. It's not as pronounced, but it's somewhere in there. And here's again T3. See it right there? See how it's higher? Look at that pattern. That's significant. So we will look at that in a second. Let me know if you see it again. And again, just train your eyes. Focus your attention on looking for that specific pattern. And here it is. See that? Okay. And there it is again. And there it is again. Okay. Okay, so you saw it. So you're seeing the slowing, right? Which is hyper coherence. The brain is shutting down. So what is the significance for this person? Brain going offline, so it's distractions and daydreaming, losing focus. He's retired, so he doesn't have to worry about work or anything. He's a banker, a former banker, who made a lot of money. So he's retired, doesn't have to worry about financial issues or anything like that. So there's no financial worries in his life. Now, this, where was it again? So this one right here, and this one right here, and this one right here. Okay, and you saw the slowing at T3. So it's F7 and T3. What's that? So let's remember. F7 to T3. What area of the brain is that? That's your ABC 1, 2, 3 language production, which is what area? Broca's area. Okay. So if we're seeing this pattern right here, this pattern right here, and this pattern right here, it's F7, F3, T3. What's the significance then? What could be the significance for the client? Sorry? It could be memory, and more specifically, what else? More specifically, remember F7, T3, I told you was Broca's area, ABC 1, 2, 3. So what could be the significance? So what are the consequences of Broca's area? Having some kind of verbal issues. So again, tip of the tongue phenomena, stammering, stuttering, forgetting the word, having problems finding the word, getting your tongue mixed up and tangled when you're trying to talk, right? So that's a pattern right there. And again, you see it here, and you see the discharge here again. So that's significant, okay? And what could it be? What do you think could be? So you see it there. What do you think that could be? And it's right there. So it's mostly at T3. F7 and F3 are affected, but it's mostly presented at T3. So what do you think that could be? There it is again. So what could be that a sign of? That specifically that morphology. Let's go back to the morphology. Because the shape of the brainwave holds the key. holds the secret. So that morphology right there, that morphology right there. What do you think it could mean? So remember, we're looking at this from the functional perspective. So the functional is language. Tip of the tongue phenomena, maybe headaches, maybe forgetting the words. If we want to know structurally, what do we need to do? MRI or a CAT scan. So if we do an MRI or a CAT scan and we find something, what do you think the MRI is going to show? Maybe damage from stroke. What else? So some kind of lesion. Maybe tumor. There you go. So you're getting the idea. Very good. So again, you missed it because it's blended in there, and again, you train your eyes and you start seeing it. But this is quite significant. So again, we're already doing an MRI or a CAT scan because it could be some kind of lesion, right? So this is, it could be maybe white matter, gray matter related. Doug?
I think gray matter.
Gray matter related.
Predominant,
Mhm.
yeah.
So we look at gray matter issues, connectivity, all right? So again, MRI or CAT scan, okay? Now, if there's a lesion, let's assume there's a lesion and there's a gray matter lesion, okay? What could have caused it? What would be the reason for there to be a gray matter lesion? So what do you think is causing it? And there's a lot of slowing. So this plus the slowing hold the key. Okay, so what was the cause of that slowing and the gray matter issues? What do you think? What could cause a brain lesion? A brain injury, what could cause it? An accident, yes. So this gentleman was involved in a car accident. He had a TBI. So we have the consequences of the TBI. So see how you're connecting the dots now? Very good. So we did an MRI, everything was fine. Because I talked to my cousin in Spain, I said, I'm sending you our friend, and I found this on the EEG. Talk to the neurologist, see if there's anything additional that I'm not seeing. Do an MRI, please. And they did an MRI, and they did a lot of heart testing. Everything's fine. So physically, he's fine. But functionally, he's not. He's forgetting words. He's spacing out. And and the Broca area thing that you were saying, you were right on. He has a tip of the tongue phenomenon. It is the slowing. And we have trauma. Physical trauma and emotional trauma. Because he just lost his wife of 50 years. So that's very significant. Now let's look at the EEG analysis, the spectra, and you will tell me where you're going to train and why. So analysis, EEG spectrum, and there we go. Look at that. So what's the most salient feature? What's the yellow one? Alpha. A lot of alpha slowing, eh? Interesting. And we have some high beta. That could be EMG, but it's also a little bit of high beta. So what's the high beta mean? What's the high beta mean? So it's hyperarousal, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be what? Anxiety. And there's some anxiety going on. Obviously, he just lost his wife. So at the time I did the qEEG, his wife had passed away for 2 or 3 months ago. It was very, very recent. Okay, so it could be the anxiety being generated. But we have a huge alpha response, right? And that's significant. So we have diffuse alpha. The question is, where would you train when you see on that alpha? What will you do? So where would you train and why? So to decide, what do we look at? Forget this. You already have that in the EEG. What else do we need to look at to decide? So who do we talk to make a decision? The client, right? So he will tell us, I don't know my memory or my language. So if he says memory and language, where do we train? T where? T3, F7, T5, right? If he says, I want to be better focused, where do you train? I'm sorry? Maybe PC, maybe CZ, maybe FC, okay? So you listen to the client, what's most relevant to them. And you also have the background history. So he's in bereavement, he's undergoing a traumatic experience. So with that in mind, you make the decision. And again, who is the real expert? The client is the real expert. Right? So, makes more sense? Is it a little better now? Is it more understandable now? A little more? Yeah. Yeah, again, it's repetition. We've done 3. Your brain is already getting the idea. Once you've done 100, 200, 300, or 500,000, well, then you'll get better and better and better. And you get good mentoring. Somebody who's done this before, and you get a good combination of things. All right? Now, I want to show you the other possibilities the software has. So we can do something called Loretta and S-Loretta. So I'm going to go to analysis, and I'm going to go independent component spectrum. So what this is going to do is going to break it down in independent components that are significant and relevant. The 10 minutes that we have recorded of eyes open are 100% of the EEG. What this is going to do is going to break it down into different topographies, in different colored maps. And they're going to have, instead of having the frequency below, they're going to have a percentage. And what that is going to show is what percentage of the problem that is. So if you see, we got a T3 problem here, and that's about 13%. We have the frontal slowing, which is about 10%, and here, there we go. And here we have the occipital slow, which is 10%. So the 3 topographies, the top 3 topographies are the ones that are more interesting to us. Okay, those are the most problematic. And I'm going to go to this one, and again, look at the boxes below here. If I click here, you're going to see the range is about 10 hertz. So it's slow and fast alpha, right? Oh, sorry, going too fast here. About 9 hertz. I'm going to do something called Loretta, okay, which is low resolution tomography. It's an MRI for poor people, pretty much, because we cannot afford to pay for an MRI machine. So we're going to do Loretta, which is the next best thing. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go Loretta for components. All right, here we go. So we have a red dot right there, and I want you to look at the box. When I click on it, I put the crosshairs on it, it says Brodmann area 42. So please find Brodmann area 42 in your booklet and tell me what functions are, what functions relate to Brodmann area 42? So Brodmann area 42 is probably verbal processing and word generation, verb generation. So I'm gonna do something here. This booklet that you have is a good one, and I'm gonna share another one with you. So I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna go, let's see. Okay. And this one, I'm going to share with you in the folder I'm going to put together. I'm going to share this with you. This is a booklet which has Brodmann area functions. All right. So this is a free distribution. So we're going to scroll down, and we're going to look for Brodmann area 42. And 42, there we go. So we have basic processing of auditory stimuli, processing of acoustic patterns, repetition, auditory working memory, visual speech perception, which is mirror neurons. So it's auditory processing, right? So we had auditory processing issues. Now I'm going to minimize this for a second, and I'm going to go back to our Loretta image. And you can do something called scaling, which means you can make it more red or less red. And the reason you do that is because you want to see if there are other networks compromised. So I'm going to move this to the left, and you're going to see we have some frontal issues. And there we go. So we got the same on the other side, and we got the back. Okay, now that's scaling it too much, but you have an idea of the networks that are compromised. So that you look at connectivity, so that helps you decide on a protocol too. Helps you decide on a more appropriate protocol. All right, so I'm going to descale it, and I'm going to go to this, which is S Loretta. So it's another software. Oops. S Loretta. So I'm going to go Viewer Explorer, and I'm going to open this up. So I'm going to go Jobs, Load Selected, and I'm going to go Yes. All right, so here we have, we're going to have some additional Brodmann areas. So that one was showing us a Brodmann area 42, but down here we got a Brodmann area 5, Brodmann area 7, and Brodmann area 31. So we have additional confirmation of the Brodmann areas being affected, right? And as you can see, the red here is showing us the area of significance. And I'm going to close this, and I'm going to close this. And here, you have that. So here's your Brodmann area 42, and you have some frontal compromise as well. So you can rotate this, and it gives you a pretty good idea. But see that right there? So the auditory processing and some executive functioning processing. Now I'm going to do the same for the other topographies. So I'm going to close this here, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to right click Loretta for components, and there we go. So see how interesting that you see the activation at the front, but see where the source is? That's going to be Brodmann area 7 probably. Oh, 31. There you go. So you could go to your Brodmann area booklets, and you go to functional analysis. So Brodmann area 31, we have, here we go, motor learning for 31. We have comprehension of language comprehension. It's compromised as well. We have attention to speech. So you can have a breakdown of the functions being affected. And again, you rely on this at the beginning, and once you've done it long enough, you can remember enough information to know which Brodmann area is compromised and the functions being compromised are. And if we go to Viewer Explorer, we're going to go to Jobs and Notes Selected. We're going to go yes, and we're going to do the same thing. So we have the activation of the Brodmann areas, and we have here we have a region of interest. So we have a hypocoherent occipital cortex. So integration, self-regulation, we need to train that. And you saw that the amplitudes were higher in the back of the head. Remember that? So this is an area of interest to train as well. So you could do some occipital training. So this helps you further assess where you would need to do the training and where do you think it would be more successful. And lastly, we're going to go with this one here. So that's also the, oh, that's back of the head. I think that we just did that. Oh no, we didn't do that. So again, Brodmann area 731. Same thing. Here we go, S. Loretta. Go. See? Again, the back of the head. So doing some PC training would be beneficial for this client. Could do CC, PC. Because that areas of significance again. You know, here's your CZ and PZ here. So training the back of the head, because we have this pattern right here. So the alpha is pretty diffuse, but Loretta and S. Loretta are pointing in this direction. So some PC training could be of great benefit. And we are going to see what we have here. We got 2 to 12. So we suppress 2 to 12 hertz, and he would suppress 20 to 23. This could be EMG. But if it wasn't EMG, if it is real high beta, 20 to 23. So we suppress 2 to 12, 20 to 23, and we uptrain 12 to 15 to get that brain going. We need to jumpstart that brain. So when we jumpstart that brain, it's going to start functioning a lot better. Is that clear? Makes more sense now? Yeah, you're not in agony anymore. You're smiling now. First E, you were in pain, and now you're in joy. All right. So I want to take a 10-minute break. Let's take a 10-minute break, and we'll go into the training aspects so we can wrap it up. Okay? If you have any questions, I'm over here. Okay? So 10 minutes, and we'll start again at 4 o'clock, so we can do the last hour and make the most of it.
我就是头痛。
No, that's just from the right. Yeah, it's 19 channel qEEG. So it's for recording and analysis. Well, Loretta and Loretta are free. So you just need to download them. And they work. It's a very nice software. But you have brain mass, but you can do the recordings of brain mass. And you transfer it out. Because a lot of my colleagues, they record the brain mass, and they send me the file, and I just get it out. Oh, you cannot? So we need to